anybody there?
All right, well, welcome back, guys, to yet another episode of the Dad Hat Chronicles. I have a treat for you guys. I always say this, I have a treat for you guys, but I'm excited when it comes to podcasting. But today, I have for you guys my very good friend Zack Raab. And I'm going to read your title, my friend, because it is a beautiful title. It is Minor League Baseball Club Services Senior Coordinator at Major League Baseball. That's awesome. How you doing today, my friend?
It is, and it's great to be here, man. Appreciate you having me on. It's nice to catch up again, and I love hearing that senior in my title because this is the first chat I've had with a senior coordinator and not just coordinator. So that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's jump right in. I want to know, you as let's get to know Zack as a person, as a fan of baseball. Obviously, we both love this game. But I want to tell me, why baseball? Like, how did you grow up becoming a fan of this beautiful sport?
Yeah, I'm a baseball fan through and through. I say baseball is up here, and then there's like basketball and hockey and everything else below that. But baseball is far and away my whole life since I was a kid. I mean, I remember my birthday parties as a little kid in our backyard, baseball themed, and I remember my first memories with my dad, who gets all the credit for making me a baseball fan. Just so many of my family memories going to baseball games together. I grew up in South Florida, so going to that old Marlins Stadium outdoors where we had to take tons of paper towels with us to wipe down the seats after every rain delay, uh, hanging out in that football stadium down in Miami. Just so many of my memories, my core memories growing up revolved around baseball, whether it was watching games, whether it was going to games, whether it was Little League, whether it was playing catch with my dad outside the house. And just, my siblings became baseball fans too. It's just, grew up in a baseball household. I used to collect baseball cards all the time. I just something about it I connected with from the time I was a little kid, and that hasn't stopped. If anything, that's grown and expanded.
Right. Our collection has become a whole lot bigger as adults. Is it how funny how that works?
Yeah, I mean, my baseball card collection's gotten smaller, but my hat collection, since this is a hat podcast, has gotten bigger.
I like it. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. You said that you grew up in Florida, so I want you to tell me your experience. And mind you, I'm a Cleveland fan, right? But I want to know your experience 97.
My experience was that it was probably my bedtime, and I don't remember anything
Oh,
about the
good,
1997
good.
World Series. I do remember getting the World Series video, the VHS tape
Yeah,
afterwards, and watching all that. I have some programs, and I have some like souvenirs from that. No one in my family were at those games. I was still pretty young at that time. But whenever I see a Cleveland fan, I remind them of it. So that I still
Appreciate that. Thank you.
hold true to that. Yeah, for sure. 2003 was a bit more when I was following and knew what was going on. Still didn't fully register at that time, but I have a lot more souvenirs from that. Still have never been to a Marlins playoff game, World Series game. I actually just went to my first Major League Baseball playoff game last year, Yankees Astros. So that was a bucket list item in and of itself. And I hope soon, one day, I can go to a Marlins playoff game and a Marlins World Series game too.
And they're doing super good right now. I mean, that's a fun team to watch. What Arias is doing is unreal. Dude, it's just a hitting machine.
Yeah, it's been a fun year of baseball for me. I mean, I love the World Baseball Classic, so starting with that in March and then transitioning into a season that I've just enjoyed. There's been so many surprise teams, so many teams that were unexpected that are just feel good stories and have some young guys achieving their dreams, and I love that stuff. And the Marlins being one of them. Just it's been a really fun year of baseball. Thankfully, I love when I can say that. And on the work front too, in minor league baseball, we didn't even touch that yet. Just everything's been really fun and moving smoothly, and a lot of positive energy around baseball this year, and I love it.
I 100% agree with you. But let's go back because and you said something that I wanted to talk about. It's World Baseball Classic, right? Like you have a personal and you have personally invested into World Baseball Classic for such a long time. Tell me about that because you're really close to Team Israel. So I really want to know how, because that's on my bucket list, right? Like granted, I've been to a World Baseball Classic now for Team Puerto Rico when they play Spain. But like, I mean, having to work with them, that had to be such a fun time, really.
Yeah, the World Baseball Classic, I've said this before, I'll say it again. The World Baseball Classic changed the course of my life. It impacted me beyond any other baseball experience that I've had. And this dates back to 2012, September 2012,
Hmm.
when Team Israel first showed up on the scene and tried qualifying for the
Yeah,
2013 World Baseball Classic. They did not, unfortunately, but I was at all those games down in Jupiter, Florida, home of the Jupiter Hammerhead,
yep.
getting to watch those games. And man, I was hooked. Uh, Special tournament. I remember reading through that roster, memorizing every player's name, knowing learning where they were from, getting to see those players stand on the baseline for the Israeli national anthem, and
Yeah,
holding my Israeli flag. At that point in 2012, I had been living in Israel for 2 years, 2 plus years. So that
sure.
was extra special for me, and just it evolved. I waited and waited until they had another chance to qualify in 2016. I flew back from Israel to Brooklyn, home of the Cyclones, and watched those 3 games there as they qualified for the first time ever for the 2017 World Baseball Classic. That was a special moment beyond belief. I was sitting with a bunch of my buddies right above Team Israel's dugout, so I'm in a lot of those celebratory pictures. I got some good shots and memorable moments from those games. And then once they qualified, 2017, March 2017, they were in South Korea and Seoul for that first round of the World Baseball Classic. And I was, I think, really one of the only, if not the only fan that paid out of pocket on my own because no other friends were crazy enough to join me. And I flew all the way to Korea, which was honestly my first time venturing out of Israel and the United States.
That's
And,
awesome.
and going all the way to Asia over there, it was a shock to my system, but the coolest shock in the world. Had an absolute blast. Baseball there is so much fun. Baseball, in my opinion, everywhere is so much fun, but baseball in Korea is like next level, different experience. I watched Israel sweep through the first round, changed on a whim my ticket went to Japan, watched more games there, and got to watch baseball in the Tokyo Dome, which was like the mind blowing emoji kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then just did that. It changed my life. That experience set me on the path to where I am now, working at Major League Baseball. 100%. That was a moment that everything switched in my mind. That like this flame that had always been in my mind of, man, I belong in sports. I belong working in baseball. That's my passion. It just got reignited like next level, and that's where I am today. And the World Baseball Classic came back again this past March, and Israel didn't do as well this time, but you're not going to crush it every single tournament. It
Hmm.
happens. Unfortunately, Puerto Rico. I don't want to say how the result of that game turned out. Everyone can look it up if they want. I don't
We're
want
not
to
talking
re
about that.
I don't want to rehash that. But it was still such a fun experience watching that down in Miami in my home ballpark with my family and getting to experience it with a lot of friends that flew in. Just the World Baseball Classic is the best. It is so special. I cannot wait until 2026. It's gonna be awesome again.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because, right, obviously, from a personal side, it really has had a massive impact on not your personal life, but also on your professional life as well. But I don't think a lot of people really understand the how big and the massive influence that has had on a lot of other cultures other than just here in the United States on how promoting this game has been World Baseball Classic has been such a huge success.
100%. I mean, if we talk about Team Israel, it's mainly comprised. It's been mainly comprised of Jewish Americans
Sure.
because baseball hasn't grown that much or wasn't big
Hmm.
enough to get a lot of natural Israelis on the team. That's changing now, and youth participation in Israel is changing, and the amount of fields in Israel has been growing
Hmm.
because of the World Baseball Classic, because of the publicity, because of the funding that's come out of that, because of all of these Jewish American ball players.
Yeah.
Some well-known names that have traveled to Israel and put on clinics and helped support the youth there, and a lot of the youth have been coming to America and playing college baseball now, and it's just the impact has been impressive. There's still a ways to go, as you can imagine. I mean, the national sports of in Israel are soccer and basketball. So
Mhm.
baseball has a ways to go, and you're not going to snap your fingers and it improves and grows exponentially overnight. But the World Baseball Classic's impact on the growth of baseball in Israel, and honestly, just I think the pride of Jewish Americans who love baseball also has
Yeah.
grown. Me, I've connected with so many Jewish American baseball players now, both at the big league level, at the minor league level, and now at the youth level. People that have been following me on Twitter now because I've been super active over the past 5, 6 years. Whenever Team Israel pops onto the scene, and even throughout the year, just shouting out, Jewish baseball players that achieve cool things and just do cool things and achieve new levels and make their big league debuts. And so there's been a renewed sense of pride and a really cool rallying around those teams
Mhm.
that I've seen, that I've been a part of. Honestly, it's special. It's cool.
I was just gonna say that because I think it's for me, and the way I look at it as well is when I see Team Puerto Rico wearing the flag and wearing, the uniform, it gives you a sense of pride, right? When you are watching it. And then I think it was very evident when a lot of players were saying, it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, World Baseball Classic means so much more than just, you know, you're playing for a regular team that pays you. It's like this is pride in country. And to see that many players say it's like, no, we are going to play, we want to play. This means more to us than anything else. And I like you said, it has been such a huge impact on a lot of people worldwide.
When you see players and the countless players saying this is the best baseball, the most fun they've had playing baseball,
Hmm.
it's like little league. I mean, that's saying something. That
You have to listen, right?
exactly. And these are like big time players saying that. These are big time. Minor leaguers. Just everyone says that, and that's how you know it's special.
When Trout said that he regretted not playing in the past World Baseball Classic and then he wanted to make sure that he played in this World Baseball Classic, should tell you something right there on the spot, you know.
100%. Yeah.
So and something that you said that how much it has ahead of an impact, and obviously it has ways to go, but also for Australia. And I believe you worked in Australia as well, didn't you? You were there, you spent some time there.
I've never worked in Australia. I've never lived in Australia, but I have a lot of friends from Australia. I almost moved to Australia before ninth grade. That's a story for a different time.
Okay, we'll leave it
but
we'll leave
but
it alone. We'll leave it
but
alone.
but I have a soft spot in my heart for Australia. Some of my best friends are from Sydney and Melbourne over there, and they have the Australian Baseball League, which has grown over the past couple of years. I've had a lot of friends that have gone and broadcasted some of the games
Yeah.
for teams there, and that's growing. I mean, you see the Czech Republic growing from this past World Baseball Classic. There's just so many examples.
I was just gonna say, like the Czech Republic, there was like firemen and doctors and all of that, and you're like when Major League Baseball did that documentary on like and then they highlighted Czech Republic. I'm like, man, how cool is this? Like they're getting to live their childhood dream of playing baseball. That's awesome, dude. I was such a huge fan.
I mean, Team Israel's legendary pitcher, his name is Shlomo Lipitz, who I actually created a bobblehead for back in 2021 before they went to the Olympics in Japan.
Yeah,
That's another story. Getting to create a bobblehead for basically the Israel baseball legend. He works in programming for a place called City Winery in New York City, and then moonlights as a baseball pitcher for Team Israel and throws sidearm. His nickname is Slow Mo, like Shlomo,
yeah.
because he just throws slow sidearm and is the greatest character and the greatest advocate for baseball in Israel and paying it forward to the youth and the next generation there. But like Team Israel's full of random people that don't always play baseball, but when Team Israel comes around, they play baseball. You bet they do.
Yeah, like you bet. Like it's gonna happen. It's we're doing this. So
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome, dude. Okay, so let's talk about now your what you're doing right now because I think it's such a cool job, such a cool gig. So like I said, you're the senior coordinator for club services for minor league baseball. Tell me, first of all, what do you do, and how were you able to be like, this is what I'm going to be doing now?
Oh, I'll start with the second question. I had no idea this was what I was going to be doing when I started out my journey to try to find a career in baseball. But they say everything. I say everything happens for a reason, and somehow, some way,
Hmm.
timing and a little bit of luck and some great references and some great people in my corner, I ended up in the most perfect position for me, the most perfect, fulfilling, exciting, fun, just role that I could have never imagined that didn't even
Sure.
exist. So like when I was job searching, I could have never said I want to be a senior coordinator or minor league baseball club services at Major League Baseball because such a title never existed. So now some background on what the title is, what
Sure.
the role is, what I do. Um, as your listeners may know, probably better than a lot of baseball fans out there, minor league baseball used to be separate from Major League Baseball up until the year of COVID, and then when there was no minor league season, Major League Baseball, there was a reshuffling, and Major League Baseball absorbed minor league baseball under its umbrella, and reorganized some things that they created two new departments at Major League Baseball: minor league baseball operations and minor league business operations. These are two teams that they built out dedicated to helping the 120 minor league teams, the 120 amazing and fun minor league teams around the country,
Hmm.
just being a resource for them, helping them, being the liaison for them at Major League Baseball to help them grow and to help them flourish. Baseball operations, as you can imagine, deals with the players, the coaches, the facilities, the rules, travel, and all of that stuff. And business operations, which is the team that I'm on, deals with the marketing and the merchandising and the ticketing and sponsorship and promotions and fun stuff like that. Um, the team that I'm on specifically is called Club Services, which is like a subset of the business operations team. We're myself and three others, and our fearless leader. We are a really fun, awesome team that our job is essentially to build and maintain relationships and trust with the staff at all 120 teams. Personally, I'm dedicated to 28 of the 120 teams. So all the affiliates of the Marlins, all the affiliates of the Tampa Bay Rays, all the affiliates of the Tigers, and several other major league teams that I help all their affiliates. So it's a lot of exchanging emails and phone calls and texts and going on a lot of Zoom calls with everyone at these minor league affiliates. Let's
Hmm.
take, for example, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp AAA for the Marlins. Everyone from their president and GM and VP of marketing
Sure.
down the line across the entire front office staff to merchandising and social media and broadcaster and basically everyone in between, helping them out however I can, and my colleagues helping them out however they can. Just answering any questions if they have any ideas, if they have any feedback. I help connect minor league team to another minor league team to share ideas, because that's what we're all about. You know, we have baseball in 120, I guess 119 different markets if you count that Palm Beach and Jupiter share a
I was just
stadium.
gonna say that, like, they share the same. Yeah.
So we have 119 markets. They're not really competing against each other. You know, everyone has a different fan base. Everyone has a different brand. Everyone has a different location that they get fans out to the ballpark there. And so we facilitate idea sharing. We run a lot of really fun programs that apply to all 120 teams or whichever teams opt in. We're just there as a resource, and I've built relationships, and just to show that MLB cares, show that we care, show that we're remembering them, and that we're here to help so much. I mean, if you know how many emails and phone calls and texts I've shared with specifically the 28 teams I work with, but also all 120. I worked on some things that apply to all 120 clubs. We care so much, and we help so much, and it is so much fun. The relationship obviously has had to take time to grow,
Sure.
and you know the trust takes time to be built. But from when I started, I've been here now almost 2 years, but as of this recording, so that's awesome. First of all, and just so thankful for every moment I've gotten. But seeing where it's come from the day I introduced myself in, let's say, September 2021, the day I introduced myself to a lot of the staff members, to where I am now with a lot of them. And over the course of 2 years, there's always turnover at different companies, different
Hmm.
organizations. So it's been a lot of building new relationships and then saying goodbye to some people and then building new relationships and saying goodbye to people. So it's just been this constant flow of building trust and building relationships and just helping out my clubs, the clubs I work with, as much as possible. And honestly, it's been so much fun. I've come to realize even more than I knew before I started this role. Sports staffs, baseball staffs, specifically minor league staffs, are so hardworking,
Hmm.
so dedicated, so passionate about what they do, so caring about their community. And it's just a treat to be able to work with those kinds of people, and help them out however I can.
Yeah. It's with minor league baseball, like you said, like hardworking. They may be hired for one position, but obviously, as you know, they do, X, Y, and Z position as well. They do a lot of other things that they don't necessarily, a lot of other fans really know about when it comes to minor league baseball.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think that's where my background, because I did not come from working for a team. I didn't
Mhm.
have much experience working for baseball before this, but I did have experience working for startups. And when you work for startups, this was when I was living in Israel. When you work for startups, you learn how to wear multiple hats. You're hired
Yeah,
for a specific role, but you learn how to be involved in a variety of teams, a variety of projects, and take on a variety of tasks. And I think that's translated, and I guess that's what they saw in me when they hired me here. That no, I did not have specific baseball experience, but the
sure.
combine the passion and love and care that I have for the sport and the growth of the game with the experience that I had in the startup world and being able to pivot from project to project and deal with multiple things at the same
Yeah.
time. I've had a lot of respect and understanding of what minor league baseball staffers go through, especially during the season. That I've been able to connect with a lot of them, and it's been awesome so far over 2 years almost.
Yeah, I mean, and like we were just talking about, like the fact that like we met at a during Bulls game and we hung out, but like seeing what I really love about the position in which you're in, and then your colleagues as well, as you guys are saying, it's like you guys are important to us, so we are going to travel to your place. We're going to meet with you. We're going to meet with your staff, and we're going to say we are here for you. Ask us, what do we, because I think that that, and as fans, right? Like at first we saw it like as a negative thing, but like I've seen how positive it has been, how the popularity has been, and some of the things that the rules that have been tried in minor league baseball and then brought up to major league baseball. Like there has been this constant flow of communication back and forth that quite frankly wasn't there before either.
100%. I mean, we see it in numbers. I mean, tickets, attendance has
Sure.
been increasing this year. Merchandise sales has been increasing this year. The exposure of MLB TV on MLB TV has been increasing this year. Just things are trending so much in the right direction, and that's due to our extended team, just the whole business operations team and baseball operations team, the dedication that we've built over the past 2 years
Hmm.
in this new format to building trust, building relationships, and helping out people across all 119 communities in the country and Vancouver, of course, can't forget them.
Absolutely.
Has been real, and like you mentioned, you touched on, we met when in Durham, and that was a really fun night
A
of
double
baseball.
header guy.
Yeah, Durham against Jacksonville. That was a lot of fun. We travel. We myself and my three colleagues and our manager. We traveled to these clubs. I ventured out. My first stop last year, my first club visit of the season was Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then I went on to Pensacola, Florida. I've been to Comstock Park, Michigan, which is where the Whitecaps play. I've been to Beloit, Wisconsin, Toledo, Ohio, Jacksonville, Florida, Daytona Beach, Florida. I've been to Montgomery, Alabama now, Gwinnett, Georgia. I can say I've been to Rome in Georgia. I've been to I can say I've been to Manchester in New Hampshire.
Right.
I can say I've been all these different places. My travels have continued this year. Durham, North Carolina, Lynchburg, Virginia, with a couple more trips coming up later this summer and early fall. It's been fun to go there and meet the people that we work with and
Mhm.
share a lot of texts and emails with, but meet them in person and show, hey, yeah, I work for Major League Baseball, but I am more than happy and excited to venture all the way to Beloit, Wisconsin to meet you all and to see what your stadium is all about, to see what your fan experience is all about, to stay for a game, to meet you all, to enjoy the merch offering that you have in your shop and try to decide what hat to buy that day because I can never decide, as you
I'm
know.
with you.
Like meet people in the stands, meet their ushers, just see all the cool stuff that they have to offer and the wacky promotion that they have that night. It means a lot to them. Every team is different.
Mhm.
Every visit, every experience has been different, but they are so welcoming, so appreciative that we take the time to venture, even for a day, even for less than 24 hours, to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, or to go to Rome, Georgia, and meet them and see what they're all about. And for me, I mean, I've been checking off bucket list item after bucket list item and getting new life experiences by visiting all these places in America. I have yet to go to Vancouver, even though they're one of the teams I work with. Hopefully next season. That's a bit of a far trip from New York City, but
Just
I've
a
been
small
able to
one.
visit. Yeah, I've been able
You
to
can do it
visit.
in one drive. That's fine.
My passport's up to date, so I'm ready. I'm ready when I get to fight. But it's just been so cool to see different places and earn a lot, like build a lot of respect for these communities around the country that honestly I would have never gotten to if not for this amazing job.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think it's been, from me as a fan looking from the outside in, I think it's an amazing job that you guys have done. Let me ask you, I want to, it's a two-part question here, okay? What does the day in the life of Zach look like, when he's working, in New York to versus a day in the life when you are traveling, right? Because obviously those are two totally different experiences, but you're still working with minor league baseball teams.
Good question. Yeah. When I'm in New York, when I'm based here in New York, which is my hub, off season and in season, quote unquote off season, because there is no off season.
I was just gonna say, there's no off season for people that work in Major League Baseball
Exactly, or minor league baseball,
or
or
minor league baseball. Yeah.
any baseball for that matter. So yeah, in the off season, the day is filled with a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls from club staffers because that's when they don't have games and that's when they have
Mm-hmm.
time to be at their computers. They're planning very very hard and diligently for the upcoming
Right.
season.
Right.
We get a lot of questions, we get a lot of ideas, we get a lot of forms submitted and a variety of things. So that's a lot of my day, and I run a lot of calls, a lot of idea sharing calls, some calls with updates and reminders at least once a month, and just to make sure that everyone across the country, across all the teams I work with, are updated and getting ideas from each
Mm-hmm.
other. So that's a lot of the off season. In season, there are fewer emails and calls that come my way because a lot of the club staffers are very busy preparing for their games, especially when they have homestands. So it's a different cadence throughout the season versus when the season is not happening. It's been interesting. People always ask me like, what do you do during the off season? I was like, well, actually, in my specific role, the off season is the busiest time of the year. The in season things work at a different pace. We're still
Right.
keeping very busy. I still send so many emails and calls because for all the 28 teams I work with, 14 of them are usually home on a given week and 14 are on the road. So I still get stuff from the teams at home or even the teams on the road, and so that's in season. When I'm That's in season and off season when I'm in New York City. When I'm on the road, I usually arrive morning, early afternoon, head right to the ballpark, meet with the GM, the president, the merchandise person, the social media, the marketing people, the ticketing people, the sponsorship people, basically anyone that I've been in touch with over the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, at this point, and meet people that I've never communicated with because they're more on the ground, or sometimes I meet the interns and I meet the ushers and I just meet anyone around the ballpark. I'm a very social guy. I love meeting
Mm-hmm.
people. As you saw, we made friends sitting next to us when we were in Durham. Like
Talking
you too.
hockey too on top of that, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a funny moment. It's so cool meeting these people, and yeah, the teams usually give me a tour of the ballpark. I get to see, and I love seeing new baseball stadiums. Every stadium is different. Every stadium has those little charms and those little quirks, those little nooks and crannies that
Yeah.
you would never necessarily see at a basketball arena or a football stadium. There's just something special about the unique dimensions of a baseball stadium and
Mm-hmm.
the outdoors nature of every minor league ballpark. Yeah, and then I stay for the game. Sometimes there's a fun promotion. I've been to a couple of teams Copa games. I've been to a couple of teams this year. Earlier this year in April, I was in New Hampshire to watch the Fisher Cats, and they had tribute to boy bands night, which was unique. And I had never been to a game with that, and just been some fun promotions. Occasionally, I get a doubleheader, like we watched in Durham. I've been to Erie for one of their camp day games when it was like an 11 a.m. start, and there's nothing I love more than going to a baseball game starting already at 11 a.m. to start my day with baseball. It's just so
I mean,
awesome.
come on, how great is that?
I wait until 7 p.m. to go to a baseball game when you can go to a baseball game at 11 a.m.
Right.
That's my attitude. So it's run the whole gamut of experiences that I've been when I'm on the road. But that's usually how the day goes, and move on to the next city the next morning. And I usually try to hit up 2 or 3 teams in the span of 2 or 3 days. One day in each city, one day at each stadium, and make the most of my time there. It's every trip is special. Every trip is fun.
Um, so touching on something that you said, the importance of you, obviously, yes, you're gonna go meet the staff and everything. You meet with them and all that, right? But how important for you it is to really just go to the actual game itself. Because and from what I would think is like, okay, I get to experience what they see, right? So if they come to me later on, you get to bring some ideas, or say, hey, some of the things that I've seen, during the games and all that. I'm sure that's also super important for your position.
Yeah, when I'm at these games, I don't really watch the game, to be quite honest. I don't have time so much to focus on the game. Again, every visit is different, but I
Mhm.
try to sit in a variety of different spots in the ballpark just to get different vantage points, just to see the game from a different experience. Sometimes I sit on the team's the berm in the outfield for a
Oh, I
little
love
bit.
the berm. Yeah.
Sometimes I go up to like the suite level and just pop in and watch from there for an inning or two, also to get some air conditioning for a minute. I usually
Not hot at all, right?
Florida games are hot in the summer, so and anywhere honestly. But yeah, I pop into the team store usually for an inning. I'm a merch nut. I love that. My background, even before working in baseball, was e-commerce and marketing, and just so I love seeing the merch options that teams have. And but like you said, being there, getting to see the stadium, getting to see what they do and how they run around during the game, and how things operate, gives me an understanding and a perspective when they come to me after the fact, once I'm back in New York, and ask me a question, or like, hey, you
Mhm.
remember when we were in this spot? Like, we're trying to spice it up a little bit. We're trying to make a unique suite, or improve this group space. Do you know any other teams that you visited that had really good group spaces, or that had a unique suite, or that so and so, like, just all kinds of
Sure.
examples. And the more teams I visited 10, 11 teams last year, and I'm hopefully going to try to visit 12, 14 teams in total this year. The more teams I've visited, the more ideas I've gotten, and the more pictures I've taken of cool things I've seen, and the more I've then passed it on to future teams I've visited. Like, hey, I was in Beloit and I saw that they do this really cool thing. Have you ever thought about this? And just sort of sharing ideas and whatever comes to mind when I'm
Mhm.
touring a new ballpark. Like, hey, I saw this in that place. Have you ever thought about it? I saw this in that place. Have you ever thought about that? And it's just a constant churn of ideas, and that's just the way my mind works too. Everyone on our team probably works differently on their trips, but that's the way I've approached it. And a lot of teams have gone on to implement some of the things I've suggested from other teams. That I don't know, a team in, just throwing out an example, even though it's not connected, a team in Gwinnett may not have any reason to ever go to Beloit, Wisconsin, and see what they do there, so they're never going to see what they
True.
can potentially implement, something similar, or something that applies to their organization, something that applies to their fan base and their community. And just so I'm that idea spreader, I guess.
No, I think that's awesome. In the fact that, and again, this happens a lot with minor league baseball, right? Is like the constant sharing of ideas of like, hey, listen, this didn't work for us, but maybe it could work for you guys. You guys are in a different area. Although, oh, this really was, successful for us. Maybe you guys should try that. And the fact that, sharing ideas, I think that's a totally amazing, and I think it's great.
Yeah, we host. We've worked really hard to host calls where we invite representatives from all 120 teams and say, hey,
Hmm.
join this call. We're going to be talking, let's say, about the Marvel partnership that minor league baseball has right
Sure.
now, since last season. We're going to host a call about Marvel. We're going to have a couple of clubs, representatives from a couple of clubs who hosted amazing Marvel games, who activated really well, who did really fun things before the game, during the game, for their fans, and promoted it really well. Let's get them to talk about what they did well,
Hmm.
that the other 100, or in this case, the Marvel partnership is 96 teams. So let's say if we have 3 or 4 teams presenting, the other 90 plus teams can learn from what these 4 teams did really well, and take some of those ideas, implement it in their ballparks, and increase the fun, and the better the experience for their fans at their Marvel games the following season. So we've had a lot of calls. We've done that for the Copa program, minor league baseball's
Hmm.
um, Copa program, which I know you know a lot about, and are passionate about, and just been hosted calls like that, spotlighting teams from all kinds of different locales, with big Hispanic populations, not big Hispanic populations, see what they do well, what's worked for them.
Hmm.
That those have been calls that I've loved when we hosted. I don't run all of them. My colleagues and we split up responsibilities, and we're a really fun team, and we really care about a lot of these initiatives, and just trying to help teams learn from other teams and connect teams to other teams, so that everyone can benefit, so that the entire minor league baseball ecosystem can benefit, so that all 119 communities across the country can benefit in the ways that fit those
Yeah.
communities. Take a lot of pride in that, and just we've made a lot of strides. We still have ways to go. There's always ways to improve and come up with new ideas and new programs. But we've made noticeable strides over the past 2 years, and I think if you talk to a variety of people from a variety of clubs, they would agree. They would say the same thing. I hope they would.
No, no, no. I think you're right. With the landscape of baseball, right? Like, I mean, yes, there has been so much change, right? With some leagues popping up, collegiate woodbed, minor league baseball, affiliated, professional. There has been so much change, but I think it has been, for the most part, has been a lot of positive change into the sport that you and me love. So I think that's great. Now, okay, so let me ask you this. This is a very super serious question for you here. Is when you go in, into a minor league store, right, into the team store, how much time do you spend trying to decide which would be the perfect hat for you, right? I mean, obviously you're not a dad hat collector, you're more of a fitted guy. Mad respect. I think there's hats for everybody. Don't hate on me, people. But like, how much time do you spend deciding?
Um, Sometimes a lot. It depends on the team. It depends on the team. It depends on the size of their store. It depends on how many options they have. It depends
True.
on how many alternate identities and wacky stuff they have in their store. So every stadium differs. Uh, Admittedly, I don't always buy a hat at every stadium I go to.
Hmm.
Sometimes I buy a shirt, or since I've moved to New York City, this is the first cold weather place I've lived in. Last year, I dedicated a lot of my shopping, and I love supporting the teams when I'm there. So I dedicated a lot of my shopping to getting some winter clothes, like long sleeve shirts and some hoodies to
I
add
love
to my
hoodies.
add to
Huge
my
fan of hoodies.
wardrobe. I have a Toledo Mud Hens light hoodie that I wear quite often around New York City, and I get compliments. I have a Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp hoodie, and just variety of items that I look for. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of hats. I got this year in Lake County, I got a Picantes hat, which has been fun. When I was in Pensacola last year, I got a Pensacola Mullets hat. I'm the only one that wears, probably in New York City, a bright pink Pensacola Mullets. They're
Dude,
alternate
I'm still
identity
trying to.
hat.
I've been trying to get their dad hat on the mullets, man. Such a fun logo. I absolutely love. I would rock the hell out of some pink hats. I do not care.
Yeah, I just wore it outside. I went for a walk around New York City the other day and wore it outside. I was like, this is a really fun hat. I'm gonna rep the pink Pensacola Mullets hat this morning. But I have a Buffalo Bison's Marvel hat.
Oh,
I
love that one.
the Buffalo Bison's Marvel logo, if you haven't seen it yet, and just a lot of the Marvel logos are really fun, and I needed to get one of those hats. I On my way to work today, I wore my Erie Seawolves hat. I just try to
Ooh.
mix it up. I have a Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp hat. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp actually are the first minor league baseball team that I ever visited. Not even for work. This was back in 2018, I believe it was. They
Yeah.
were the first minor league baseball team I ever attended, game I ever attended. So they have a special place in my heart, and it's been a treat to get to work with them. Um, yeah, I have a Beloit Skycarp hat. One of the first projects I worked with when I joined in the summer of 2021 was helping Beloit prepare for their rebrand and their
Hmm.
unveiling in around November 2021. And that was one of the first projects I got to work with, since Beloit is one of the clubs I work with. And that was so special just to see it unfold at least the end of the process, since I wasn't around for the beginning, but just to see it unfold and to see it from behind the scenes. I'm a branding and marketing nut, and I love that. And just to see the new merchandise drop and the new brand, and see the reactions on social media, which is always negative to start and then turns positive. It's the natural progression of a rebrand. Uh,
Absolutely.
that was fun. So yeah, I have all kinds of hats. Sometimes I go 5950 flat brim. Sometimes I go 3930. Sometimes I get these mesh like stretch fit new era caps. Just
Hmm.
depends what I'm in the mood for. Depends on the logo. Depends on the color scheme. Um, yeah, I guess the funniest story about buying a hat. I was in Toledo, and their merchandise manager, Craig Katz, who's a great guy, has been there for a while. And I was walking around. He said, "Choose a hat." I chose a hat, and he said, "I'm warning you. When you wear that hat, no matter where you are, someone's gonna come up to you and say, 'Hey, are you from Toledo?'" And sure enough, I came back to New York City. I wore that hat. I was on a bus to visit friends in Maryland. The most random spot you can imagine. And someone one row behind me on the opposite side of the bus, looks at me. He said, "Nice hat. Are you from Toledo?" No joke. No joke. Like a week or two after I bought that hat in Toledo, I was going to Maryland, and some guy looked at me like, "Hey, are you from Toledo?" I was like, "No, I'm not. I was just in Toledo for a Mud Hens game, got this hat. But this is amazing that you're asking me that because this was predicted 2 weeks ago that this exact moment would happen." And within 5 minutes, I got on my phone. I emailed Craig. I was like, "Craig, I don't know how you knew that was going to happen, but it just happened. Someone asked me if I was from Toledo. It has happened again since then on the air train in the airport. I met a Dayton Dragons fan, season ticket holder, and he saw my hat. He's like, "Are you a Toledo Mud Hens fan?" I was like, "No, I just visited." It's just a recognizable. It's honestly, it's one of the more recognizable minor league teams out there in history. So understandably so. But man, Craig was right on the money, and that's been one of my funnier minor league baseball hat moments over the past 2 years.
And something that just popped into my head when you were saying that, you're talking about the mud hens, right? Like, I think that like the popularity or the mixing of, like, popular TV shows or movies and baseball, right? Because MASH, right? I mean, we all know, like, that, the popularity of the mud hens grew a lot also because of that TV show. That has been, I'm sure that you would say, it's like, yeah, I think that's super important, Bull Durham, right? Like, I mean, there's so many teams and movies and shows out there that has done such a great job as far as marketing is concerned for minor league baseball.
Yeah, and just the way it shook out with the teams that were assigned to me when I joined in 2021, I get to work with teams like the Mud Hens, like the Durham Bulls, even like the Columbus Clippers and the
Yep.
Chattanooga Lookouts, teams that are pretty recognizable with their logos and haven't really rebranded that much and are just pretty well known. And then I get to work with fun, like recently rebranded wacky team names like the Jumbo Shrimp and the Rubber
Yep.
Ducks. And so I have a variety of teams that, Pensacola Blue Wahoos, just like team names that I tell my friends I'm working with them. They're like, "That's a baseball team name." I was like, "You bet it is," and it's a
You
fun
got
one.
that right. It is. It
But
was
then I work with,
amazing.
but then I work with teams with the Durham Bulls and the Mud Hens and the Clippers that have so much history and that don't necessarily really need to rebrand because they have so much,
Mhm.
brand equity there. And it's cool getting a wide variety of teams I work with and perspectives and brands and just everything across the spectrum. It's fun.
100%. I think you're right. You are absolutely right. I think that, with the popularity of branding and how collectors like myself, right, that we have had such a fun time looking at all these logos. Because listen, I'm no joke. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I am on the minor league baseball store website. No joke, looking at some hats, right? For myself, right? Because I'm always looking, but I'm like, oh man, that logo is pretty cool. I like this. Why did they go with that color? So, like, I mean, seeing all of this, I was like, from classic to wacky, trash pandas, jumbo shrimp, things like that. Man, this is why I love minor league baseball so much.
And it's so fun. One of the things I love the most is getting to help clubs. Like I mentioned, Beloit's rebrand, helping them behind the scenes before it was unveiled to the public, getting to help clubs with their alternate identities or new clubs joining the Copa program or clubs rebranding their Copa identity or clubs rebranding their complete identity and
Yeah.
changing their names, which minor league baseball clubs do every once in a while when it's the right time. Helping them prepare that. And as we discussed in when we were in Durham together, the timeline for that is quite long. Like, so clubs have to prepare
Yeah.
quite well in advance to rebrand for an upcoming season or to introduce a new identity for an upcoming season. And it's just so much fun helping clubs through that process and making sure they're all set with their caps for their players and coaches to wear, with their jerseys for their players and coaches to wear, with merchandise in the store, just helping them through that process and seeing the new logos that come our way, whether it's Brandios that designs it, whether it's Dan Simon designs it, whether it's other guys like Brandon Foos, if I'm pronouncing his last name right.
Right.
Uh,
Foos.
Foos, yeah, or sorry, not Brandon. I'm
Ryan Foos.
Ryan. Sorry, I was thinking Brandon
Oh, I'm gonna
Lamar.
tell him
Like,
now. I'm gonna send him a text message like, man,
no,
Zach
no,
got your name wrong, dude.
you can cut this part out. But the fact is, I remember his design work, and his design work is great. And Brandon Lamarche of 32 to 32 Designs,
Yep.
just like guys and in-house designers, just seeing what they come up with is just so much fun every time. I get a file sent to me with a brand new logo for this new alternate identity, and it's one of those another like mouth open emojis. Like, whoa, this is really cool. This is
This
going
is
to do
super
really
cool.
well. They're going to really like this one.
Let
It's
me
just
ask you
fun.
that, because obviously you get to see the behind the scenes, and from the initial work to, like, final release, that takes takes a long time. Two, that's a lot of work and a lot of discussions, right? Like, so how does that really work? Like, what are the initial discussions that happen when a team comes to you guys like, hey, listen, this is what we're going to be doing. This is what we're thinking of doing. What do you guys think? How does that work?
Yeah, I'd go back 1 second. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and that's
Okay,
what makes
yeah,
it
it
all
is.
worth it.
Yo, yeah, for
But
sure.
it's a fun process where, like, initially clubs just need to notify us that they're introducing a new name, or that they're rebranding their complete team,
Mhm.
or that they're introducing a new Copa identity or something like that. And then a short while later after that, they have to show us like their logos that they're introducing, and the cap that they want to introduce, and then eventually the jersey that they want to introduce for their team to wear on field. We have to make sure the marks, any new logos that they're introducing on the field, don't copy another existing logo out there in the world, because that's what's called infringement. So our team, we make sure that these logos are new, these logos are fresh, these logos are not copying and pulling from any other team or company or
Mhm.
entity in the world, because you don't want to deal with that. Obviously, no
Yeah,
company
you
wants
don't want
to deal
to
with that.
deal with the legal battles when it comes to
Exactly.
things
So
like that.
that's why these logos that we get are so creative, so fun. Sometimes it's historical. Sometimes a club says, hey, we want to bring back this old historical identity and play as such and such team for one game next year and celebrate this history of our organization. Or we want to, for our 25th anniversary, we want to bring back our throwback identity, do a throwback night and bring back that identity, or that logo, that cap that cap and jersey combo for a night, or we want to introduce like an anniversary logo to put as a side patch on our cap, on our home cap for next year. So we help with all that stuff. It's a really cool process. It's a really fun process. It's a lot of balancing changes from 120 teams.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But so it's a lot of trackers and just making sure we got everything and got all the pieces to the puzzle on our end, and sometimes following up with a lot of clubs and making sure they get us if a piece of the puzzle was missing, to make sure we get everything covered, to make sure they're all set and can launch and rebrand and give their fans something amazing to buy and enjoy.
So let me ask you this, because obviously the most recent example for me, and you and the ping, the 25th anniversary of the Lake County Captains, right? Like, I mean, that, they've already have a logo, but they brought back their original logo, which I absolutely love. Think it's great. And so, like, that takes a while to do, but I'm sure you're looking at it like, man, I am having so much fun doing this right now. Look, just looking at all the details and all the designs and all that when all that happens.
Yeah, the Lake County Captains they're one of the teams I work with. As I mentioned to you when we met, I work
Yep.
with all the Guardians affiliates, and so the
Heck yeah.
captains at High A are one of those teams that I work with. And I was basically around when they started that process to bring back their throwback logo. And then it was exciting when I went to Lake County earlier this year in May. I got an ice cream helmet. Shout out to Paul Caputo of Baseball by Design podcast, which I've always loved. And I got an ice cream helmet from Lake County with the Lake County Captains throwback logo. It is
Oh,
currently sitting on my desk. I have a mountain of, I think as of today, 30 ice cream helmets on my desk at
nice.
work. My goal is to have the largest mountain of ice cream helmets on my desk at the commissioner's office here in New York.
That's
I
a
think
good
I
luck.
already
That's a good goal.
think I'm already winning, but I want to win even more. So
Like,
we're
no,
gonna keep
like, we're not just
collecting.
gonna win. We are going to obliterate this, and then we're gonna go like, so that way you have no chance whatsoever of winning this.
I just keep collecting and keep eating ice cream. Dippin' Dots is my go-to whenever I'm at a ballpark.
You know, I love ice cream. Doesn't matter if it's dipping dots or soft serve or anything. I mean, I absolutely think it's totally amazing and it's so good. I
Yeah,
love it.
full agree.
Hey, dude, has that, before we go into, right, my famous not so famous questions here, is there anything that I have not asked you that that you want to talk about, do you want to mention, or anything like that before we go into that fun section?
I mean, goes without saying, given the listenership probably of your podcast, but of course support your minor league baseball team. They do a lot.
100%.
They work really hard. They do a lot of fun things. Give them ideas also. If you minor league teams are open to everything. So, if you ever have a wacky idea of a cool identity and maybe you can submit a design to them, and you never know, maybe they'll love it and take it and run with it. Just keep supporting and trust me, trust us when I say that we're working really hard and we're really dedicated. We have an awesome team here at Major League Baseball dedicated to growing the business and the world of minor league baseball, to enhancing experience for fans around 119 different communities. It's trending so much in the right direction over the past couple of years. And, every time change happens, there's
Yeah.
always a transition. There's always some bumps in the road, and we've been learning a lot. But things are trending so much in the right direction. And it's just been so much fun. So to keep supporting, and whether it's on social media, whether it's going out to the games, whether it's buying these teams merch, whether it's celebrating their new identities when they unveil, just keep supporting and keep being positive about baseball, about minor league baseball, major league baseball, everything having to do with this awesome sport.
100%. I agree with her. They couldn't have done anything better myself. All right. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm always ready.
Okay. So let's say you're going to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You're like, your first minor league baseball team that you attended a game. What is your drink and your food of choice?
Okay. Drink, I'm going to be very lame. My drink is water when I go to games. Sorry to take the easy way out there. But my go-tos whenever I go to games, I love a hot super pretzel at every game. I try to get Dippin' Dots also in an ice cream helmet. It is very sad to me when a team does not have an ice cream helmet. I go home feeling like I missed out on an important part of my
100%. That's how I feel about dad hats. So like I feel very
Exactly.
sad when no one has a dad hat.
Exactly. So those are usually my go-tos, and we'll see whatever else I find. I'm not the biggest foodie when I go to games, for better or worse, but that's just my preference.
All right. So, last movie you have watched?
Oh, not the biggest movie person, but I did watch Air, the Michael Jordan movie.
Yeah.
In theaters with my roommate recently, a couple months ago. That just shows you how many movies I watch. No, better idea and more fitting for this podcast. I watched a documentary about the Omaha Storm Chasers recently.
Oh, 50 Summers.
50 Summers. Yeah, that was someone recommended that to me about a month ago, and I bookmarked it. And I was like, when I have time and I sit down and watch a movie the next time during baseball season, I don't watch many movies because I watch a lot of baseball games.
Yeah.
But I had time one night and I turned on 50 Summers, and it was really interesting. It's from a couple of years ago, so
Oh yeah.
Not totally up to date, but it was so fascinating to see how that organization's evolved, and how they went the rebrands that they went through, and the new stadium is just really fascinating story. I learned a lot about that organization. Unfortunately, they're not one of the teams I work with regularly because I don't work with the Royals, but I interact with them sometimes and earned a lot of respect for that staff and just a lot of understanding, a lot of interesting nuggets I pulled from that film. But yeah, that's the most recent one I watched.
Funny thing you say that, because I actually interviewed the director of that documentary.
Wow. Well, it was a good one. It was really well done.
Yeah,
I highly recommend.
We talked for a long time. Like, actually, I did a 3-part series, 3-part episode, because it was like so much information when it comes to like that specific, how he approached a lot of people and things like that. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, Warren Buffett. Like, I mean, come on now, right?
I saw that. I did a double take. Honestly, listen, with all respect to Warren Buffett, Ben Hill was in the documentary. That was the most exciting part.
Oh, dude, right? Like, I mean, like, when I asked him, I was like, all right, like, you literally went to a baseball winter meeting and you literally just set up a section, and you just grabbing people, like, all right, here we go. Go talk to this person. Go talk to this person. He goes like, Ed, that's exactly what happened. It was awesome. So yeah, it's a great documentary. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Last song you downloaded.
Last song I downloaded.
And this probably was a while back, so this is why I love asking this question.
Wow, I don't remember the last time I downloaded a song. At this point, I'm just a Spotify guy. I listen to everything on shuffle. I just choose one song that I think of to start my day,
and then just boom, go there.
On shuffle from there.
I can't remember the last time.
Different genre.
Yeah,
different genre every day. It seems like. That's really downloading a song. I don't remember the last time I did that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I cannot remember either. So it's been a while for me. So I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I download a lot of songs into my memory, if that counts. So
There you-
songs that I hear and songs that I love and songs that I just it perk me up every time I hear it. Those, yeah. Just I'm a music nut. Just anytime I'm doing anything, whether it's working, whether it's traveling, whether it's being outside, being outdoors, I love listening to music. It keeps me going.
What's some of the genres that you listen to?
Every day is different. Honestly, every day is different. Sometimes I listen to like chill pop music. Sometimes I listen to alternative rock. Sometimes I listen to like techno music if I need some upbeat.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Israeli music. I lived in Israel for 9 years and
sure.
big fan of that scene. They have a lot of really fun songs. Um, just I don't know, whatever I'm in the mood for.
I
I
like it.
sometimes I start with my some of my favorite artists. I mean, I love starting with One Republic sometimes, um, and just go from there. Choose a One Republic song, say shuffle this from for me, and get some cool new stuff.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Name me one of the seven dwarfs.
Sleepy.
That's a good one. Good. Sometimes I just feel that way. All right. Favorite board game.
Favorite board game. I'm very good at it. Doesn't have a board, but it's a card game, which is similar, I guess.
Hmm.
I love anything with numbers and colors. I love Perpetual Commotion.
Hmm.
If you've ever heard of that game, I love Sushi Go. Sushi Go has a board. Sushi Go is a game that I've introduced to a lot of my friends over the past couple of years. I joke that I've learned everything I know about sushi from a board game. So
Interesting.
highly recommend that one.
All right. I'm gonna look at that one. I'm gonna
Yeah,
look at that one.
it's a fun game. It's a cute game with cute little pictures and cards and very easy to learn. My younger sister beats me all the time at it now. So,
I like
but
it.
rightfully so because she's amazing at board games. So,
I like it. All right. Then on that same, tangent, favorite video game.
I've only had one video game console in my entire life, and that was a PSP back in the day.
Wow, love it. I still got mine.
Yeah, I got my PSP when I was 13 years old as a bar mitzvah present. When I was 13, and I just played a lot of MLB The Show. I played a lot of Madden back then, some NBA and some NHL. I really was just a sports video game guy, but cannot honestly remember the last time I played a video game.
Oh, the last time I played a video game last night. Okay. Worst job you ever had.
Oh, worst job? Well, I'm currently in the best job I've ever had.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I could have answered that question really easy. I really never had a bad job. I view every job as an opportunity to learn, even if it wasn't the best fit, even if I
Yeah,
run out of things to do. I've learned something from every stop of the way, whether it was being a summer camp counselor for many years, whether it was working in a little shop packaging random items for some guy in my community, whether it was working for a couple of startups in Israel that were going through some growth stages.
sure.
I've learned everything. I've learned everything I know at this point, and just something from every job, something from every manager. I would never say I have had a bad job,
I like
thankfully.
it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Let's say you buy a boat. What would be the name of the boat?
Ooh, I have to think of a pun. I'm known for puns, and the boat would have to have a pun name. Have to have a punny name. Super on the spot right now. Holy cow.
Oh, well, that's
Um,
the best part about it, right?
man, this is tough. I know I
You're
said I was
welcome.
ready, but I know I said I was ready before the questions, but I okay. I mean the man, I really don't. It would probably have a baseball theme name. I would need some time. I'm not good at making split decisions. I would need some time to think of a pun and a baseball term, combine that into a boat name, I guess.
So here's what I'm gonna do. When this episode releases, I'm gonna let you know when this episode releases. So you got some time, okay? You got a few weeks on this one, okay? I want you to think of a name between now and then I need you to put it on the comments when I tell you for when the episode releases.
That's fair. I can do that. A few weeks. Yeah, I'll probably have something by later today, but I'll take a few
There
weeks.
you go. But I'm giving you some homework there.
I
What
like
color
it.
is your toothbrush?
Color is my toothbrush. I think it's green now, but every year is different. Every time I refresh, I try to switch it up. Never go two colors in a row, like the same color in a
Same
row.
color in the yeah. There you go. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip,
Oh,
the green kind, not so much the white kind.
gotcha. Okay.
But
First,
when I get Dippin' Dots at a baseball stadium, I usually go for cookies and cream.
oh, cookies and cream. That's my favorite. First celebrity crush.
Ah, I don't really have an answer for that question.
All
To be quite honest, sorry for the cop out, but
right, I'm gonna give you a pass. I'm gonna give you a pass on this one. Your what's your nickname growing up?
my nickname was Snack or Snack because everyone just knew me as a kid that ate snacks. Um,
Oh, I still eat snacks to this day, so that's a
so
good thing.
I still eat snacks too. So instead of Zach, a lot of people called me Snack.
I like it. I like it. Zach, dude, thank you so much for doing this. I had an absolute blast. Where can people find you on the socials, my friend?
My pleasure. This was fun. Those questions were much harder than I anticipated. Next time when someone says, "Oh, are you ready for this rapid fire round?" I'm not going to say yes. I'm always ready. I'm
I
going to
was
say
like, just like maybe.
I will do the best I can. But yeah, everyone can find me on Twitter. That's mainly where I'm active, especially when it comes to baseball talk. At Zack Raab, ZackRaab. Somehow, way back when, I claimed that handle, and it's worked out great. I'm also, if you want to connect me professionally, I'm on LinkedIn. Just search Zack Raab. But yeah, that's mainly where I go. Super active. I love talking baseball, anything like that. So that's where you find me.
Love it, my friend. Hey, thank you so much, and then we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Glad we could finally make this work. I hope your listeners enjoyed. This was a fun time.
Absolutely.